Good morning, and welcome to the 2020 State of the University. I am virtually Dr. Carl Reiber, your Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. And while I can't be together with you in person, I am so happy that we have the technology and ability to be with you online today. As you know, it's been an unprecedented year for Georgia Southern University. This morning, we will not only reflect on the difficult road that brought us here, but we'll also reflect on how and the vision and plans as to how we get through this next academic year. I want to take a moment to thank Dr. Marrero for his leadership during this time. The President's Cabinet has learned volumes as we've navigated these historic months together, and our President has challenged us, inspired us, and pushed us forward through many uncertain moments. Thank you, Dr. Marrero. Before Dr. Marrero brings his presentation to us, I'd like to introduce our panelists who are with us today, as well as guest speakers representing the faculty and staff who will also bring remarks. Tripp Addison, Vice President for University Advancement. Anna Lee Ashley, Chief of Staff and External Affairs. Jared Benko, Director of Athletics. Mara Copeland, Chief Legal Affairs Officer. Brian Deloach, Medical Director for Georgia Southern Student Health Services. John Lester, Vice President for University Communications and Marketing. Scott Lingrel, Vice President for Enrollment Management. Shay Little, Vice President for Student Affairs. Vicki Shaw, Interim Director for Employee Relations. Ron Stallnacker, Chief Information Officer. Rob Winokur, Vice President for Business and Finance. Tajuan Wilson, Associate Vice President for Inclusive Excellence and Chief Diversity Officer. Jessica Joy Gross, our interpreter. Patricia Holt, Faculty Senate President. Trina Smith, Staff Council Chair. Thank you all for being here this morning. At Georgia Southern, our faculty and staff are the backbone of the institution. We believe our academic excellence and student success is founded on the excellence of our faculty and staff. Representing our faculty today is Dr. Patricia Holt, Faculty Senate President.
Good morning. I'm Trish Holt, this year's Faculty Senate President. Welcome to a year that promises to be unique, unlike any academic year before. We are surely going to make it into the history books. It is so nice to have everyone back together again, even if it is virtually. I have missed having conversations with colleagues in one another's offices, meeting for lunch around town, and being able to smile and ask how you are doing as we pass in the hallways. I know that we will not be going back to normal this semester, but that others are smiling at us behind their mask as they say hello. This has been a busy summer for all of us. We have been creating multiple plans for this fall and are even planning on a few new techniques that may make us a bit apprehensive. Neuroscience advises us to exercise our brains to boost mental capacity, improve memory, and postpone cognitive decline. For those of us who are reaching the age where brain exercise is more important than ever, this year we should be nearing the level of activity required to keep our brains healthy both this year and next. Faculty, Senate, Executive Committee members have worked throughout the summer. In the spirit of shared governance, President Marrero, Provost Reiber, Vice presidents and leaders representing every division in the university have taken time out of their plethora of meetings with the BOR, Georgia Department of Health, CDC, and everything else on their plates to meet with the Faculty Senate Executive Committee every other week since the 1st of May. They kept us up to date as new information was changing throughout the last 3 months. They were each transparent in the information provided, eager to hear our suggestions, and answered all of our questions. often going well beyond the scheduled ending times for these meetings. According to the USG Faculty Council members across Georgia, the leadership from Georgia Southern represented the only institution of higher education in the state to include faculty from across all campuses in the planning and preparation for this fall semester. Thank you, President Marrero, Drs. Reiber, Little, Wilson, Lester, Lingrel, Deloach, Mara Copeland, Jared Benko, Ron Stallnaker, Rob Whitaker, Rebecca Carroll, John Lester, and everyone else who stopped what they were doing on a regular basis to keep us informed. The Senate committees have begun to meet and are prepared to function virtually throughout the year. In the spirit of shared governance, we will attend to our regular business and continue to share information with all of you. The members of the Faculty Senate and 13 associated committees understand that collectively we serve as the official faculty advisory body to the president concerning academic issues. It is our responsibility to represent the entire faculty. For us to be effective representatives for all, it is important that we hear from you. Please get to know your college representatives and contact them whenever you have questions or concerns which reside under our purview. You may rest assured that we will continue to make informed decisions and keep you up to date on our work throughout the year. Welcome to the 2020-2021 academic year.
Thank you, Dr. Holt. And representing our staff today is Ms. Trina Smith, Staff Council Chair.
Good morning. I'm Trina Smith, this year's chair of the Georgia Southern University Staff Council. Greetings, Dr. Marrero, members of the President's Cabinet, panelists, and faculty colleagues. On behalf of the Staff Council and the more than 2,000 staff who make this university hum, I want to welcome you to the new academic year. We've probably worked harder than ever before this spring and summer to get to this point. If this pandemic has taught us anything, it is that our staff are vital to this university. Our staff have been on the front lines, keeping us safe from the beginning, even before this crisis. Georgia Southern staff in facilities, housing, dining, university police, health services, human resources, student activities, communications, enrollment services, finance, information technology, athletics, advising, advancement, counseling services, and our academic departments, and please forgive me if I've left someone off here, have been working diligently to protect our students, our campuses, our well-being, and our mission as educators. I'm pleased to report that the Staff Council membership has grown this year and includes representation from all Georgia Southern campuses and divisions. We are eager to continue our work with our university leadership, our colleagues from the faculty, and with each other to weather these storms, uphold our values, and continue on the proud journey of growing ourselves to grow others. Thank you for the trust you have in us and for your continued commitment to leading with transparency, respect, and goodwill. We are here for Georgia Southern. And staff, it's an honor to be serving in this role as your representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And I want to take a moment just to tell everyone how hard both Trish and Trina worked over the summer, and greatly appreciated. I'd like to take a few moments to make some remarks before we move on to the rest of the program. Remarks from myself, the provost, to you, our faculty, hardworking faculty. So welcome to the 2020-2021 academic year. And for those of you that are new to Georgia Southern, this is a very special place for learning and scholarship, and you should take advantage of all aspects of what we offer. Your hard work this spring was greatly appreciated, and the success of our students in the transition to online courses was nothing less than remarkable. We transitioned over 5,000 sections to online in just over 2 weeks. The results of this transition were equally amazing, with fewer W's received by students this last spring than the spring before, which shows your hard work. As we moved into the summer and again delivered instruction online, we saw an increase in both headcount and student credit hours, and far fewer complaints than over the past 2 years for summer courses. Again, this is a testament to your dedication to the highest quality educational delivery, creativity, and hard work. This summer has been a busy one for all of us, with the development of the return to campus plans, along with the rescheduling, alterations in pedagogy activities. You will hear more about these numbers from the president in just a moment, but let me tell you, we worked hard with faculty, chairs, and deans to maintain the highest quality instructional delivery possible, to minimally disrupt student schedules, and to provide as much face-to-face delivery as reasonably possible, all to allow our students the best opportunity to learn in the environment they've come to expect of Georgia Southern University. Lastly, and critically important to the success and future of Georgia Southern University, are our inclusive excellence initiatives. Dr. Tawan Wilson has joined our team, and we are seeing a great deal of forward momentum in this area. I want to emphasize the importance of this effort, not just for faculty and staff, but for our students as well. We are modeling best practices and behavior to prepare our graduates for the future careers and working in diverse environments. Diversity of culture, race, ideas, and perspectives, it's what moves this country and businesses forward. We have to respect each other and our diverse ideas and perspectives in order to prepare our students. Our culture of inclusion and respect is what must be developed nationally and globally. In this array of opportunities allows students to pursue their passions and curiosity, discover new interests, conduct fascinating research with our faculty, and develop the knowledge and skills they need to launch successful careers. This really is like no other university. Georgia Southern is unique in this. We guide, prepare, and mentor students to become the next generation of leaders. As the provost here at the university, I can tell you, the faculty are not just world-renowned scholars, you are also excellent educators. And our students, community, and I deeply appreciate your hard work and continuing efforts to allow our students the opportunity to grow and become members of our region and productive citizens. After all, the dedication of the faculty as teacher scholars is what Georgia Southern University has always been known for, and we are proud of that reputation. Thank you and welcome back. Each year, Georgia Southern University celebrates the faculty and staff that have made outstanding contributions to the success of the university. Recipients of these awards will receive a university medallion and $1,000 to be used for professional development. I'll turn your attention to the slideshow, which will allow us to recognize this year's winners again.
University Awards of Excellence. Student Success, Kimberly Simpson, Office of Advising. Amy Hackney, Department of Psychology. Teaching and Academic Excellence, John Banter, Office of Leadership and Community Engagement. Jackie Kelly, Department of Geology and Geography. Arpita Saha, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Research and Discovery and Innovation, Hedley Lee Broxton, School of Nursing. Jeffrey Burson, Department of History. John Egan, Office of Leadership and Community Engagement. Marshall Ming, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Inclusive Excellence and Openness and Inclusion, Nikki DiGregorio, School of Human Ecology. Sarah Nobles, Office of International Student Admissions and Programs. Elizabeth Desnoyers-Colas, Department of Communication Arts. Operational Efficiency, Effectiveness, and Sustainability, Cheryl Lewis, Office of the Vice President for Enrollment Management. Community Engagement and Collaboration, Lashai Campbell, Russell Union. Stacy Smallwood, Department of Health Policy and Community Health. Prokofia Andrews, Office of Leadership and Community Engagement. Mika Williams Johnson, Department of Curriculum, Foundations, and Reading. Integrity, Logan Grody, Information Technology Services. Team Award, Commencement Work Group. Members, Ashley Anderson, Dustin Anderson, Anna Lee Ashley, Amy Bala, Diane Badash, Nicole Booker, Wallace Brown, Diana Cohn, Carol Cox, David Cutler, Derek Davis, Ava Edwards, Amanda Hines, Jody Kennedy, Kendria Lee, John Lester, Cheryl Lewis, Scott Lingrel, Larry Mays, Adrienne McCullough, Laura McCullough, America Mink, Casey Morgan, Kelly Nielsen, Lee Price, Joey Reeves, Jason Salazar, Nick Skull, Ashley Thornton, Katie Twining, Ashley Walker, Jennifer Wise, Jeremiah Womble. For more information on these recipients, please visit georgiasouthern.edu/GS Awards.
I can't hear all of your applause, but wherever you are, let's give these winners a hearty congratulations and thank you. And now, the presentation of the 2020 State of the University. I'd like to welcome the 14th President of Georgia Southern University, Dr. Kyle Marrero.
Thank you, Carl, and good morning, everybody. As I take my mask off, we're learning how to do this with one hand together, and we start a new fall that certainly will be very different, a different feeling for all of us at this institution, but a fall in which we've worked so hard over the last 4 or 5 months in preparation. When I looked up at the screen and saw the award winners, our faculty and staff members, the people of this institution that make it the special place it is, I can stand up here as a leader and talk about our plans, how we're working through everything, but ultimately it is you. It's our faculty and staff that make every day happen, that transfer knowledge, that ensure the operations every single day happen smoothly. And particularly navigating these uncertain times, this hasn't been easy and it won't be easy this year. So as we acknowledge our award winners, I want you to think about each and every one of your colleagues as we navigate this new academic year in uncertain times. And I also want to make sure and thank the Multimedia Development Center. They're all here today. They made this happen along with our best-in-class IT, the award-winning MDC. There's not many institutions that can pull something off like this. Both this, our virtual commencement ceremonies, all our town halls, they do an incredible job. So thank you for your great work, and applause around. You can hear it probably. Can you hear it through the echoes of the Zoom from everybody? So let's begin. Let's talk about these uncertain times. Let's put it out there. What are we really dealing with? Indirectly, clearly, what we're being challenged with is the economic downturn of a post-COVID environment and continuing through this fall. We saw that immediately as we modeled a 14% budget reduction that ended up being, thankfully, only 10%. Perception is everything, right? 10% is good, but it is still certainly a challenge for us as we move forward into this fiscal year. Also in a COVID-19 environment, what's the uncertainty of that? What does the future hold? A fall semester where we made immense plans and we're assessing every single day, but how will it be successful? I know I was just asked yesterday in an interview, what's keeping me up at 3 a.m. in the morning? And it's all the scenarios of which could happen and that we're prepared for. And have I forgotten something? Have we forgotten something? And our readiness, I feel very confident we are ready. And then certainly with the political and social and racial injustice that is happening in our country at this point, and the realization for us here in the United States of America, in Georgia, at Georgia Southern, being agents of change, understanding what that means to us personally, being more culturally competent so we can all grow to grow others, and purposeful in our inclusive excellence goals. This is clearly a clarion call for all of us, and I'll talk about our inclusive excellence action plan as we move forward. Clearly, if you're like me, you like planning. You like planning and to know how everything is going to happen every single day of the semester operationally, how your class is going to be delivered within your syllabus. Well, I know the last 5 months, if you're like me, you've been very uncomfortable, and we will be uncomfortable this fall. But we are being asked to be innovative, flexible, nimble, and willing to adapt and change. And I want to thank you. You all have been tremendous, remarkable, heroic, even as we made it through these times and as we navigate these uncertain times this fall. So how do we lead through this? How do we actually find our way through uncertain times, making difficult decisions? We have to look at what our mission, our vision, and our values are. That will always lead us, because as we look together, we know what we're meant to do to transform lives through education, to elevate societies. We believe we have that power. We believe we're relevant in higher education to do that. And I know Georgia Southern has been remarkably successful in preparing its students in all that it does. So we look to that mission, vision, and values, and we make sure that we're still in a through line, because we still have important work to do. And as we look to our vision statement of people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others, it is clearly these words that have to be the most meaningful. And let's reflect on that. So I'm going to take you through some slides that you've seen before, but I want to remind you of our key performance indicators, of our strategic pillars, of our values, and at the center of that bullseye, our vision of people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others. So as we look at this, and we look at this beautiful graphic, we see the outer circle of our values, the ways in which we'll behave, the ways in which we'll treat each other, we'll collaborate, we'll strive for excellence, we'll be innovative, we'll have integrity, inclusiveness throughout all we do, openness and inclusion, and sustainability. Our 5 pillars of student success, of teaching and research, of inclusive excellence, of operational efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability, and of community engagement. These are the pillars, the actions, and the goals that we still must strive to complete. And we'll see that work continue even in these unprecedented times. And that first word in our vision statement of people, that's critical. I've been asked, how do you lead through this time? And it is, for me, really looking at what that key mission is and its student success, the outcomes of our students, of our academic programs, and our promise at the end of the day of what we deliver, and how our students progress through that and grow and transform. That's what we have to see through, even different modes of delivery as we move forward this semester in a very, very different environment. We also have to put the giant lens through every decision of the public health and safety of all our faculty, staff, and students in the communities we serve. And then that first word, our people, which is our greatest resource, you. Putting you in the best position to be successful and safe throughout the entirety of this fall. And me as CEO to look at the fiscal and financial stability of the entire organization. So that's how we lead. And that's why we invest in you, our people. We believe that an engaged faculty and staff is critical to creating an environment in which students can succeed inside the classroom and in life. And to create engagement, we need to ensure that all contributors understand their value and contribution to the whole. So as we think about that and we use the mantra of performance excellence, it's really around a plan, around goals, around all our key performance indicators, all that we measure for success. It's to build a culture, a transformative culture, a movement that promotes an environment in which all individuals, you, know and own your roles and responsibilities, that you feel valued in that, in achieving this aspirational vision. And again, I'm going to invite you, as I did last year and throughout these years together, of what this vision statement means to you. Why are you relevant? Why does what you do every single day, whether it's your research, your creative scholarly endeavors, whether it's every day to ensure that our facilities are clean, that our grounds are beautiful in our glorious 3 campuses, you are vitally important, and that you're in constant state of growth and improvement, not just for your own sake, but to grow others towards our mission of that singular goal of student success. So our goal is to build an environment where people know what to do, why they're doing it, and what we intend to accomplish. And at the same time, these people will be engaged and part of solution making. And Trish said this in her opening statement with Faculty Senate. We embrace shared governance, the collective intellect of the entirety of our faculty and staff together, because together we're going to make better decisions as we move forward during this time, aligned with our values, aligned with our mission, aligned with our goals as an institution. So let's review. I'm going to go through a quick triptych just to give you an idea of what we've been doing the last 4 and 5 months. I know you know this, but I want to call the heroic things that you all have been doing to make this happen. If you remember back in March, around March 13th, we made the decision to move to fully online for the remaining 5 weeks of the semester. We had 2 weeks to change 5,000 courses from face-to-face to fully online and complete the spring semester, and you did that. And then we continued in the summer fully online. We were worried a lot about enrollment, what that would mean for summer. Well, I can tell you with all the incredible work of not only you, our faculty, in preparing the courses, having the sections, but then also our staff and enrollment management and driving through the registrar to make sure our students knew the opportunity, that we actually grew in the summer compared to last year of summer of 2019, where we were 4% up on credit hours. During that same time, from March to April, we helped move out 4,600 students out of housing, providing those that needed to stay, and there was a little over 170 that stayed with us all the way through May and some even into June. We continue to feed them and take care of them. I want to thank the housing staff, the dining staff, all of our people that took care of the needs in a critical time that transitioned us through that March and April period. We refunded almost $11 million in housing, dining, and fees to students so that they would have that money back in their pocket and be able to use it to make their bills meet through the rest of the spring and summer. We held virtual commencement. As I said, we had a problem and we solved it. We were innovative. And that solution actually enabled us on May 8th and 9th to broadcast 9 ceremonies of graduation for each of our colleges with over 100,000 viewers worldwide. Now that's innovative. That's finding solutions. That's a way in which we have even a greater impact than we thought we ever could. We developed process and provided over $11 million in CARES Act grant funding directly to students from the stimulus package. All but about 20,000 of that has gone into the hands directly of students to help them through this time, to make their rent, for their food, for their basic needs, to get through this summer. We developed and began implementation of our initial return to campus and our return to campus plans. We had over 130 faculty, staff, administrators, all health professionals help us develop a plan of which we assess continuously. We modeled the 14% budget reduction plan for FY21, and it became a 10% realization and had 4 days to implement that and make it ready for July 1, a $14.2 million recurring reduction for us. Clearly difficult, but we did it together. We implemented a voluntary separation process. Early retirement incentives, we had 40 employees, about 11 faculty, 29 staff that decided this was the right time for them, and that incentive enabled them to do that. And we processed that in a caring manner, of which we do everything here at Georgia Southern. I want to thank the HR teams for leading us through that. We developed and implemented HR accommodation and flex remote work processes. Within that, we've had over 278 applications for accommodations for our most fragile, medically fragile of faculty and staff that are in the high-risk categories, as demonstrated or at least aligned with CDC, and over 98% of those accommodations have been fulfilled. And for us, that's the way in which we work together. We assessed and modified for this fall, and I'm going to go through that in detail, almost 5,000 courses to be ready, to make sure they had social distancing in place, that we then would protect our faculty from the students within a COVID-19 environment and ensure that we could deliver as close to face-to-face within a very different format, but a way in which we be true to the student learning outcomes. We prepared campus with signage Signage all over, literally 7,600 signs on our three campuses. Cloth face coverings, over 70,000 cloth face coverings distributed to our faculty, staff, and students, and we have another 50,000 on 16 locations across the entirety of our campus, so that any visitors, anyone that's forgotten a face covering can have one and continue through their daily work here on the campus. Face shields, our engineering college, with their 3D printing, was able to manufacture over 1,500 face shields for our faculty and staff to have those. PPE to all of our frontline workers, everything across dining, housing, custodial, to make sure they were ready to prepare not only our food, our housing, but our cleaning, our sanitation. And over 1,000 hand sanitizer stations throughout all of our campuses to make sure that we were ready for this fall. We formed and implemented the CARES, Contact Notification Team, and our Business Continuity Plan Assessment Team. We continued assessment and improvement of our Return to Campus Plan based on public health guidance with Georgia Department of Public Health and the CDC, all the time assessing, looking at every bit of our operations, where we can improve, where new standards came, where new guidelines, and adapted and made decisions throughout the summer, as we will this fall. We continue communication, coordination, and monitoring of community healthcare providers, public and private schools. We talked to them, see where they were. We knew we'd have to take care of our employees to ensure that as they were dealing with how they would take care of their childcare needs, what that would mean to them. And we've been incredibly flexible in working with them. We talk constantly with our municipalities, with our city governments, with our county governments, to see where they are in our agencies, and all of the hospitals to see how they are doing through this. Continuous communication and progress meetings with faculty senate, executive council, as Trish had said, staff council. We meet every 2 weeks, as Trina had said, to make sure they're up to date. We answer their questions. Any questions that we weren't able to answer, we then research, and then we post on our FAQs and make sure everybody's getting the information. We've had listening sessions, 3 of them with alumni, with students, with parents, and community stakeholders, all with the goal to be prepared for the resumption of a modified in-person instruction following all public health and safety guidelines. Yes, this fall semester is going to be a little different, but I can tell you the heroic work that's gotten us here today to August 12th has been nothing short of tremendous, and I want to thank everybody involved in that. So what does that look like for course modification? So let's talk about that. In the numbers, let's get into it. I love the numbers. So we had 5,708 courses that were scheduled in April of this year, ready for the fall. Within this, we ended up adding another 117 sections by the time we got today, and we'll continue to add some sections as need be over the coming weeks. But we had 4,785 face-to-face, about 83.8% of our delivery was face-to-face as scheduled, 923 fully online, about 16.2%. Then as we went through this process, with our deans, with department chairs, with the provost's office, really ensuring as we look to how do we map out the geography of every single classroom, to make sure we can deliver in a COVID environment with social distancing, how we can have distance from the podium to the first row of students, how we can ensure that each of our classroom facilities are ready to deliver in a way in which we'll have the most effective student learning outcomes. And as we did that, we began to look at, okay, first off, there are certain courses, there's absolutely no way in which we could deliver them in a face-to-face manner. They were just too large. We had no other geographical solution in which we could move forward. So with that, you see the bottom bullet, 259 of those courses had to move in some way to online remote learning. So that was the first wave as we looked at, there's really not a solution. Then we really delved into every single different course of how it could be delivered, from labs to face-to-face lecture, to you name it, to different type of modes of delivery. 33 were modified to hybrid. 180 only needed a room change that was larger in order to accommodate the social distancing. We flipped classrooms. We looked at those to see how we could do that in terms of half the subsection of a class meeting on Tuesday, the other half on Thursday, how that would look, and then the rest of the curriculum delivered online. And then modifications in the pedagogy itself to ensure that we could meet all those standards. All in all, it meant that we got to about 79% in some type of modified face-to-face and 21% fully online. Now, we'll continue to adjust that through the fall as we move forward, but that's where we are of the heroic work, and I want to thank our faculty now who are really working through this week and getting ready for next week, and that help us continuously improve in this environment. So, what is this? Busy slide. I know I love busy slides, but here you go. I know for those of you who want to see what we're doing every single day and to hold us accountable as leaders, that's important, because in evidence-based leadership and a culture of high performance, you need to hold us accountable. You need to know what I'm doing as a president, the goals that we're setting. And we began that last year in performance scorecards. They're posted publicly and openly. The address is mygeorgiasouthern.edu/scorecard. And I want you to go to those if you can. And I want you to look at how we finished out this last academic year, this fiscal year of FY20, because it'll have every single one of me and all of my leaders, my vice presidents, the cabinet members in there in terms of how we did within our key performance indicators that are aligned with our strategic plan, the goals we set for an institution, so that you can transparently see how we're doing, where we didn't do particularly well. We ended up overall with a 3.04 score out from 1 being, big time improvement, what's going on, to 2, needs improvement, to 3 is the goal that we set and we made it, 4 is a stretch goal, 5 is bold, hairy, audacious goal. And so we basically, as an average, hit the majority of our goals, but you'll see the ebb and flow of it, and it'll tell the story of fiscal year 20 and how we did in academic year 20 with all those goals. Then you'll also see all the tasks quarterly. Basically, 567 tasks. Of those, we completed 402. But then we also assess why that wasn't completed. It was in progress. Did it move to the next quarter? What happened? And you get to see from all of us throughout all of the organizational structure of the institution at leadership level what we're doing every day and what we're trying to complete to then further the journey along the way towards the goals and outcomes of which we've stated. To be the institution we desire to be. FY21 is up already for the goals for this year, so look at those on the scorecard, and then also look at our first quarter 90-day actions that take us all the way up to basically October 1st. So follow that along, ask questions, let us help explain exactly what we're doing, and then you can see, and together we can lead in the most transparent way we can, holding ourselves accountable for results. So, budget. Budget not only is what we reflect, and then I'm going to talk about where we're headed in this next year, but let's reflect exactly what we went through in these uncertain times. Clearly, with the economic downturn and the 10% reduction, we had modeled a 14. It ended up only being 10, which was 14.2 million recurring. And then we also had the enrollment credit hour formula reduction. If you remember that, the comparison from FY18 to FY19. Of about 1,200 students, of which we lost in that time, and that lags 2 years in our formula allocation. So that ended up being 5.23 million. So the total reduction for us starting this fiscal year was 19.45 million. That's a lot of recurring budget for this institution. And I want to thank everyone involved that we went through our process transparently. We shared it with faculty, senate, with staff council. We went through it and we really protected our guiding principles of direct instruction, our core mission to ensure student services, support, and success, and our operational sustainability and effectiveness. Out of that, just to give you a brief overview, and our goal throughout this was no layoffs, and then we were able to not have furloughs at the end of it because of the 14% being only to 10. It ended up being, in totality, about 101 vacant positions, of which we froze and eliminated. About 83 were out of the 10% reduction, and 18 were out of the credit hour reduction. And that's how we managed our way through it, transparently opening. But again, as we're making all these hard and difficult decisions, we're doing it with our values, our mission in mind, and ensuring those guiding principles are held to so that we can promise and deliver our core mission of academic success for our students. So we get one thing done, and sure enough, we already have to start. So here's the timeline already for FY22. Thankfully, we've already heard from the Governor's Office, Office of Planning and Budget, not to plan for any additional cuts for FY22 at this moment, which is a big sigh of relief, and we're happy to move in that direction. But for us, it means all the way through our organizational structure, beginning this month, all the way to October 15th. We're going to prioritize our process and look and see where we have needs, particularly given the last 2 years of budget cuts. where we need to assess that, where we need to prioritize that, and then we're going to line it always in the dialogue and language of our strategic plan and the outcomes of what each of those positions you may be requesting or return of operational budgets. We'll communicate those prioritizations and decision-making at all levels of the process and share that openly, as we did last year, as we do with every budget decision with the entirety of the campus. So you can see exactly what we're doing and see how you are part of that decision-making process. Our goal is to have that completed by October 15 and be sharing that with you by the end of October. Enrollment. Critically important to our success. Even in a COVID environment, as we look to this is critical for us. All the great work of the enrollment management team, I want to thank them. I want to thank our University of Communication Marketing in tandem together. Not only did they help us navigate into summer with a credit hour increase of 4% compared to the final year. But as of yesterday, and granted a lot of caveats with this because these are certainly uncertain times in terms of how we navigate and benchmark, but the benchmark from FY19, August 13th, compared to yesterday, August 11th of 2020, we are right now, as of yesterday, 2.66% in headcount and about 2% up in credit hours. Now, a lot can happen between now and October census, but that's exactly where we want to be now as we work into this next week to yield those students to ensure that they progress and they continue and they make it all the way to census and all the way through fall of 2020. But that's heroic work. Incredible work in uncertain times by our enrollment teams and our University Communication Marketing. What led that? Obviously was a strategic enrollment plan aligned with branding and marketing, and I'll tell you a little about the refresh here in a minute that's going to be launched this fall. We also fueled it with a regional academic plan that the Provost's office, the deans, then began to launch and began to propel forward. That is helping us through all of this. So, what of the brand refresh? What is that going to look like? What are you going to see, and what is the language you're going to see about Georgia Southern? 3 incredibly unique campuses. An entire southeast region of Georgia is represented of 26,000 students, 3,350 wonderful faculty and staff, and about 120,000 alumni. Well, these are the words that we are going to use that we think best describe us after focus groups over the last 6 months with our consulting partner, Staymates. We are a proud, energized, and qualified community of thinkers, researchers, and doers that spark progress in urban, rural, and coastal communities across our region and around the world. The big idea? Georgia Southern students graduate ready to power, serve, and transform their communities, the region, and beyond. And our promise is that Georgia Southern has the strength and commitment to nurture and empower progress for all, and we're already in motion. We have been for 114 years. So our character, who are we? At Georgia Southern, we grow ourselves to grow others. We create great opportunities and transform lives through our personal interactions. It is our people, folks. It is our people that make us special. Let's lift that up, let's enhance that and embrace it and make it who we are and why we're special and why students should engage us in the critical part of their learning environment. Our brand pillars: get ready for opportunity. We're a talent powerhouse. We power progress for all. We are always ready to roll up our sleeves, discover big ideas, and go deeper. Here's some of the look of it, just to give you an idea of the graphic design that's being drafted now. We're being whole and true to our colors of white, blue, and gold. And in that, you'll see this sort of brushed, polished, almost marbling here in some of the print ads to get a little bit deeper texture around that, within pictures of our students, always our students in action, our faculty and staff. And then here on the other side of the screen, your right side of the screen, you'll see what it'll look like on the phone when you have a little bit flatter colors along that way. But this is going to see some of the brand images from a visual, along with the words we're going to say that will unite us as one institution, as Georgia Southern, with 3 very unique campuses, with our pride and our character and our belief that our people will help transform lives, elevate communities. So 12 months ago, we were here, and we had literally in the series of last few years, racial incidents on our campus, issues of which arguably we did not deal with particularly well. We had gone through then Dr. Damon Williams, which led us through a comprehensive study and inclusive excellence assessment report that basically happened right before I got here in the spring of 2019, but then we went through it. We were able to share it transparently with everybody. It was a hard look in the mirror. It made us look and see, we have a long way to go at this institution to ensure that we're a welcoming environment, that we're a place where all of our students, faculty and staff of color feel like this is a place for them, where our LGBTQ communities feel like this is a place where they can have a career, where our students feel like they are accepted for who they are in every way, and that nothing stands in their path to be able to be successful. So a year ago, we then said we are going to take this report. We're going to take those 7 recommendations, and over 18 months, we're going to implement those 7 recommendations. And I'm proud to say today that we're in target here by October with then the climate study benchmarking and that will measure progress that we'll have this year as the benchmark survey that we do out here as a climate study in October was the last part of these 7 recommendations. We did have a national search with our infrastructure AVP Inclusive Excellence and hired, I think, one of the best in the nation, Dr. Tawan Wilson. Thrilled that he joined us March 1st and has been with us, and together we're building an Inclusive Excellence action plan that I'll talk about here in a second, but I couldn't be more proud of the direction we're headed. We're facing this head on, folks, and we've built an infrastructure around that, an office of inclusive excellence, an organizational structure aligned to serve all constituents. We've developed advisory council. We've made PDAC even stronger. I listened to the last PDAC meeting and I heard from the representatives of each of the colleges that they had developed their action plan at each of the colleges. We are headed in the right direction. I'm so excited about this, but it is hard work that's going to take everybody. I have my President's Student Advisory Council that we're refreshing again this year and making even more inclusive to ensure that I'm hearing the voice of every single one of our students. We have our institutional definition of inclusive excellence. That was voted on by Faculty Senate and approved in Staff Council last December. Those words need to be meaningful in action and behaviors every single day, that we lift up our values around that. We are headed towards, not only with our strategic plan of key performance indicators, when you look at my performance scorecard, I want you to notice on there that the goal for the entirety of the institution and then all of my vice presidents is that 80% of our faculty and staff have training in inclusive excellence this year. We'll be launching that through Building a Better You, and we'll be monitoring it and making sure that everyone has that opportunity and participates. Our goal, of course, is 100%. And make this part of our culture, that we're continually to grow ourselves, to grow others. So as we head through this in the training, the professional development, we have a plan. This is the Inclusive Excellence Action Plan. I want to thank Dr. Wilson and the entirety of the staff, the cabinet, and everybody involved, from faculty and senate to our deans, to everyone that has reviewed this, our staff council. We're getting ready to launch this by September 1 with 4 principal goals: to create an equitable and inclusive environment for all. What does that mean? That means ensuring that around that we have training, that we elevate the educational opportunities, that we believe that we can elevate cultural competencies and global awareness, that we can take a student at 18 years old who knows nothing other than what their experience was as within their high school or in their environment or their small town, wherever they came from. And by the time they graduate, they understand what it means to live in an ever more diverse world. That's our goal. We have to take what we get when we get them, and we have to help evolve and make sure they understand it's not to change their beliefs, but to understand that how their behaviors can have impact on others and to be part of a community. To increase the representation of diverse students, faculty, staff, and community partners at all levels of the university, between the cabinet and the leadership level, all the way through to our faculty and staff. I'm proud to tell you that with SGA and with Faculty Senate, they'll be looking at a resolution here coming up just here in this next month for faculty hiring, diversity hiring plan, and what we're doing as we move forward. These are tangible actions. For students, we understand our growth. Our growth in the state of Georgia, the only way we are going to grow is if we become more diverse, because the state of Georgia is becoming more diverse, and 18-year-olds that are graduating from our high schools are becoming more diverse. So if we don't prepare and welcome each and every student and give them an environment in which they can feel successful, we won't be successful. There's a business case imperative, and then there's the moral imperative around all that we're doing in this. Third goal, facilitate access to achievement, success, and recognition for underrepresented students, faculty, staff, and alumni. We're doing employee resource groups, affinity groups. Without every area of the campus, we have faculty and staff, fellows, a program that Tawan is launching through this. We'll have students involved throughout every aspect of it. We have alumni that are working. This is where we then elevate, we recognize and reward every bit we're doing within those areas. Fourth, to implement and consistently communicate culturally inclusive practices that reinforce the strategic plan and inclusive excellence. We need to shout from every rooftop what we're doing. We need to also own when we haven't done well, when I haven't done well as your president, communicating what we must do in this area. So today, we are moving forward in a direction that this institution will be a leader. In fact, we are the only cabinet in the United States of America in higher education that is completing a certificate diversity executive program. We'll have that done in September, where every one of your cabinet members, including me, has gone through a training to better understand where my biases may be, where in leading this institution, I can be more effective. So these are the steps we are taking at this institution to move forward to ensure inclusive excellence as a center pillar to our strategic plan will make us better, to help us improve, and be the environment of which we're all striving here. So, some exciting things ahead, and the good news is I'm getting close to done here. So for all you, stretch a little bit. I just got a few more slides here, and then we'll get to questions. So some exciting things ahead as we move forward. And I want to tell you that because in spite of COVID-19, in spite of uncertain budgetary times, in spite of all that we're facing and navigating an uncertain future, this is the work of the institution. This is us moving forward and ensuring we're relevant and that what we do has impact not only in our region, but in the nation. And for us, clearly, with Savannah, with one of the largest ports in the nation, logistics, technology, IT tech is critical. And the corridor that's established around I-1695, the programs that we have all the way to PhD in logistics, to our engineering, to our business programs and innovation, this is where together we can be a leader in this, and we've placed ourselves as head of an advisory council of logistics IT tech. We see ourselves taking a place in a position in an IT tech hub concept where Georgia Southern and the research, the public impact research we can do, the innovative technology transfer around all these areas and the projects that we can then bring in as faculty, as students, that we can be problem solvers, will elevate this, create more industry, elevate our research activity, and ensure our students are having the greatest opportunity. We will be the leaders in this, and we will make our mark, and we are headed in the right direction with it. Many of you heard about junior achievement, about the Discovery Center, the commitment at the Armstrong campus to take the old Armstrong Recreation Center and take that envelope and create a Discovery Center. What's a Discovery Center? It's where for us, 15,000 of the coastal middle and high school students through junior achievement and coordination with the public school system, once it's open, and we're shooting for fall of 2021, would be bussed in, would have a curriculum around financial literacy, innovation, leadership, entrepreneurship, within a facade city that's constructed in the old rec center, where they come in, and then our students are trained to teach them in financial literacy and will be paid to do so. And that continuous synergy, but our destination of the Armstrong campus will be seen by 15,000 middle and high school students from the 10 counties in the region. It'll be the place to be. This is a cool project. I'm so excited about it and the future of it. We'll keep you apprised as that moves forward over this next year. The Regional Education Collaborative, this is one of my passions. I started this at West Georgia. It became one of the models for the state, working in tandem with Bullitt County, with our K-12 partners, with our public and private school partners, with our technical college, with East Georgia College, then in Chatham County, with Savannah-Chatham County Public School Systems, with Savannah Tech, with Savannah State University, with us, and with Chambers. We work together to ensure that every 18-year-old is either employed, enrolled, or enlisted. A single schoolhouse approach to educational attainment and talent development. And the belief is that as a community, together, we can help elevate that all the way from early learning, from those first 18 months after birth, the reading, the synapses in the brain being developed, to early learning, to quality daycare, childcare that has education components for kindergarten readiness, will then elevate third grade reading scores and sixth and seventh grade math and English literacy as we move forward. And then those critical times where explorations, what am I going to do with my life in that 8th, 9th, and 10th grade? Either dual enrollment, whatever it may be 3 certificates all the way to aluminum welding, but that needs to be a conscious choice where we help an entire community. And for us, it's to make sure that our college-ready students are indeed college ready at 18. So you're employed at 18 because you have 3 welding certificates or HVAC and you're making great living, you pick up some business classes, you start your own business. Enlisted, where you're actually looking, that was an active choice, you're going to use your GI Bill later, or you're enrolled. You're enrolled with us or some other entity ready on a path for success towards your education. That's what the Regional Education Collaborative is, and it's been wildly successful on the west side of Georgia, and here now we're bringing it to the whole southeast region of Georgia. We have a new learning center, if you didn't know, I'm sure you didn't know, that we opened and we cut the ribbon last fall. It's us, Boston College, and Notre Dame are the only 3 American universities in Ireland that actually have a center. Granted, COVID-19 has disrupted that, but that continues with programmatic development and opportunity for us to develop with not only educational partnerships, but economic partnerships with TradeBridge, and the future is unlimited there, and we're very excited about that project. We're going to expand our nursing cohort, the need, obviously, for nurses, and we've done that. I want to thank Barry Joyner, the dean, and all of the nursing leadership and faculty, and their ability then to add to the nursing cohort each year. We're already leaders. One fact you may not know is 1 in every 5 undergraduate degree in health professions in the state of Georgia is a Georgia Southern graduate. That's our impact on health professions, and we want to own that and continue to expand that, particularly in this time it's critical. The Tactical Athlete Program, boy, I want to thank our physical therapy program, again, just doing incredible work. For 2 years, they've been partnering and piloting physical and tactical athletic. It's called the Soldier Athlete Human Performance Optimization Program. Short is Tactical Athlete Program, and it's working with our military, our active military, and ensuring that they can return back to active duty and taking them through physical therapy, a train-the-trainer model. And this will be the first semester that we are launching for credit along that, a certificate program in tandem with Fort Stewart. And I want to congratulate our faculty. The innovative nature and the partnership and the future of that holds great, exciting opportunities for us. Future Hospitality Management Program, our Parker College of Business, will be launching that over the next 2 years. We believe that in the Savannah market will be a huge boon for us. We'll be doing renovation to 2 of our older buildings on both of our campuses, but ones that house so many of our student organizations and the success, particularly of our multicultural organizations, that we want to make sure. So Williams Center will be a $3 million renovation project that we'll be doing design over this next year, and the Memorial College at the Armstrong campus, again, for our student needs and organizations, about $4.5 million of renovation. The Armstrong Rec Center, as I said, will be moving because it'll become the Discovery Center over to the Sports Center at the Armstrong campus. In fact, this Friday, they should be open and ready to go. That's a much larger complex, one in which we have great plans as we move forward for everything from club sports to ways in which we can enliven and build opportunity for our students. And it'll be from a workout facility, an opportunity for all of our faculty and staff, I think, enhanced and better each and every year as we continue to build enhancements. We're excited about that project. And then finally, I know many of you know about our Center for Engineering and Research, the SEER building. Let me give you a picture. That is scheduled for completion on or around November, December, and then our goal is January in spring to begin classes in there. 135,000 square foot state-of-the-art engineering building, one of the most technically advanced, certainly in the southeastern part of the United States, for our 2,250 engineering majors. We're so excited that building is coming out, 21 labs. It'll be just an incredible statement for a stakeholder in terms of what we do within that spectrum of programs. Very excited about that program. So, as I conclude, I want to bring us back. This has been, certainly in my lifetime in higher education, a time of which we've had to adapt, adopt, had to find new ways to look at all that we do. I know it hasn't been easy for you, but if we continue to look to our mission, our vision, and our values, that's what will guide us through this. Certainly in these challenging times, we continually need to believe that we are relevant in the transformational power of education. We matter. Without us, the evolution of our students, of what we believe, and the passion of which you decided to be part of a higher ed institution, this is critical. That we believe this, we continue to do the work that we know we need to do. The success of our students will always be our primary goal. That it will be how we're judged. That's how we'll move forward. That's the lens of which we all must always look. The value of openness and inclusion, that value has to be uplifted and directed in every way in which it guides our behaviors and our growth within this way. That's the only way we will improve in the area of which we know is critical for our institution to be successful. It is you, our people, our faculty, and our staff that transfer knowledge, that elevate critical thought, and create this incredible environment we call higher education, that we call Georgia Southern, that's both physical and virtual, aligned with our values that support student success. We will make all these decisions guided by the best available public health information and in alignment with this vision that as we look at it again, we believe that an engaged faculty, the collective intellect of all of our faculty and staff are critical to creating an environment in which students can succeed inside the classroom and in life. To create engagement, we need to ensure that all contributors understand their value, and your contribution to our success. And for us to move forward, people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others. So last year, I showed you this picture. We made it when I was just welcoming me and my family, running around in a golf cart with Gus. And I asked him to bring that photo back up, and could you put some masks on it? Because that's the environment in which we're living this fall. Now, I know we aren't social distance, but we'll do better this fall. But this gives you an idea of how we can continue to move forward. We can continue to elevate and live our mission, our vision, and our values, even in these times, because we will adapt, we will innovate, we will be nimble, and we will ensure that every day that the public health and safety of our faculty, staff, students, and our community is of paramount importance. So I want to thank you, and then I'm happy now, with the time we have left, to hand it back to Patricia, Dr. Holt, to then set it up for our Q&A portion of the rest of the State of the University. So thank you for bearing with me, and Trish, back to you.
As we begin the Q&A portion of today's event, I want to provide a reminder. Please submit your questions using the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom toolbar. Along with your question, please include, if you are faculty or staff, your name and university department. Trina and I will moderate and attempt to get through as many questions as time will allow. So please be concise as possible with your question. If there seems to be a series of questions with the same theme, we'll combine those as best as possible. Ms. Smith, would you please give us the first question?
Ellen, I'm sorry. Thank you, Trish. So our first question is, when did the budget cut become recurring? And does this mean that it is not related to COVID?
Oh, great question. So we have, there's different ways in which we look at budget. For the 10% reduction that happened specifically based on the economic downturn, the budget collections from the state that then impacted this fiscal year, FY 21, beginning July 1, those are recurring. Permanent reduction, at least in this time period, for this entire fiscal year of 10%. So that 14.2 million became effective July 1. Also, the formula reduction of 5.23 million became recurring in essence, because that was a formula reduction that was reduced or decreased based on the number of credit hours we generated in comparative years of fiscal year 18 and 19. So both those became effective July 1, recurring for a total of 19.45 million in the way in which I described on that slide. But that is recurring, a full reduction. Our only hope to recover from that is if revenue collections for the state of Georgia, the economic impact of COVID-19 and the economy, the revenue collections are on an uptick through this year, then I think we have a shot in FY22 to recover some of the formula funding, the 10% reduction that the state provided, and that would be recovered. And hopefully, I mean, our goal and what we will certainly lobby for is when there's budget time that then has the revenue to cover it, to then make us back to whole on that 10%. But we won't recover the credit hour reduction until we actually produce credit hours. That's why enrollment is so critically important. So the only way we can actually gain additional budget is either the return of revenue based on revenue collections from the state to go back to then replace back the 10% that they pulled from our formula, or we grow based on enrollment of credit hour generation, both in the real time this year when we get it, and then when the allocation comes from formula, which always lags 2 years behind. I know it's a little tricky, but hopefully that answered that question. Rob Whitaker, our Vice President for Budget and Finance. Rob, did I do okay? Anything you want to add to that?
Very well described. That's exactly how the process works.
Hey, I'm 1 for 1. There we go. Okay. Trish, you got a question for us?
Yes, Laura Weasel from the Department of Political Science and International Studies asked that you please address the ventilation systems in buildings across the campuses.
Thank you for that. That's a great question. And if you notice on our FAQs, that was something we first assessed way back in April and May, because we wanted to assure that we'd be ready for the fall. And I'll have Rob Whitaker, Business and Finance, to give that update for you exactly how we've assessed all of the HVAC for each of our buildings in readiness for this fall. Rob?
Yes. So all of our HVAC systems on our campuses have been checked and are functioning as designed, and our filters are changed on a regular basis. Outside air has been increased to the greatest extent possible while maintaining appropriate humidity levels in the buildings. Air exchange rates have been checked and maintained appropriately for the environment they serve. Faculty and staff and on-campus student residents are encouraged to keep their doors open as often as possible to assist in air circulation throughout the building. The university is using the appropriate filtration for each building system and filters as fine as possible without placing too much demand on the system. The CDC says the risk of spreading the virus that causes COVID-19 through HVAC systems is likely low. Additionally, the plumbing systems are being flushed weekly and have been since we went into this offset mode in March.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. Trina, back to you.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry.
Y'all are doing a great job. I know there's lots of questions coming in.
Lots of questions. Okay. Jonathan Strickland from IT Service and Delivery has a question. Knowing that purely number of infections doesn't tell the whole story, metrics are the university and USG looking at to determine fall contingencies?
Thank you for that. Yeah, for us, this has happened throughout the entirety of the summer. And then as we've headed now into obviously the fall semester, we have taken, our initial return to campus plan and then the return to campus plan. And I'm sure you've all read it, 292 pages of it. But each of those then have the contingencies, those assessment measures of which we'll measure along that way to ensure. We have a COVID-19 situation representative group that meets, did for 3 times a week as we began through April and May and June. We transitioned to twice a a week through the summer months, and now we're back to 3 times a week. Through that, each of those agendas, we look at each of our operational assessment areas. We take into consideration where we are, everything from housing to dining, to custodial, to facilities, to then our CARES notification team in terms of the numbers of calls we've had in, where we are on the positives, where we are on the contact notifications in partnership with Georgia Department of Public Health. We look at that. We also then, with Dr. Brian Deloach and with Dr. Stuart Tetters, our Dean of Public Health, we are looking constantly at what our local health systems are doing, whether it's St. Joe Candler, Memorial in Savannah, whether it's Liberty Medical Center in Hinesville or East Georgia Medical here. We're in constant communication and looking at their thresholds where they are. In the J district, it's called. We work then in tandem with them, with our own health systems, our own health services on our campus, where we are, on our testing protocols, and then we assess at each individual meeting to see where we're meeting certain levels, where we may need to move to another way in which we're either delivering a single class, whether we are looking at a specific area on campus, where we may need to make some modifications, alterations, all the way to where then we would work in consultation, obviously with the University System of Georgia and with Georgia Department of Public Health to make any more larger decisions. And certainly those decisions can be based either on a campus, an area of campus, the whole of the institution, et cetera. So there's many, many moves along this way of assessment before we would ever get to the full, we're toggling over to fully online within that. I don't know if Dr. Deloach, if you want to add any further onto those assessment measures that we're using, particularly from a scientific or medical aspect. Brian, are you on our call?
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. I was trying to unmute myself.
Okay, and also your video, if you want to pop that on too, so we can see you.
Yeah, I think the folks who are controlling it have to unmute our video. It wouldn't let me unmute. But I think you did a great job covering that, Dr. Marrero, as far as what we're looking at. I think it's important to understand that no specific metrics or benchmarks have come from the Department of Public Health. We've asked them point blank, both at the state level and at our district levels, in both of the districts where our campuses are located, nor have any specific benchmarks come from the CDC or any other governmental agency. So really what we're closely looking at the medical piece and what is the real impact of that on our campus. How is that affecting the operational sustainability of our campus, the capacity that we have for to deliver the educational component, to maintain public safety, to maintain housing, dining, all of those critical infrastructure pieces. How is COVID-19 impacting our ability to deliver those services?
Great. Thank you, Brian. And I think, Ron, could you talk about a little bit about the CARES notification team for everyone? Because I'm so proud of those efforts of how we're working in partnership with Georgia Department of Public Health for our contact notifications specific to our faculty, staff, and students. I think everyone would love to hear how that is operating and working in partnership.
Yeah, so as Dr. Marrero mentioned, the 27th of July, we started our CARE Service Center. And as we've talked about before, we've approached this from a people first perspective, right? That CARE Service Center includes not only a call center, it includes a contact notifications team, as well as self-identification forms, and individual specific CARES teams for faculty, staff, as well as one for students. We have layered technology underneath that to make that as efficient as possible, so that we can process those as fast as we can. But our contact notification team is all teams are doing a fantastic job, but our contact notification team is really doing a fantastic job as it relates to reaching out to our faculty, staff, and students to ensure we are minimizing the spread as much as we can. But can't be thankful. You all need to be proud of that team and everybody else who has been able to step up with that. And as I mentioned, technology is making us efficient. However, we did not approach this from a technology perspective. We approach this from a people perspective. And that's a resource that anybody can use, faculty, staff, or students, and would encourage you to reach out there if you have any questions as it relates to any of our response or COVID related.
Right. And those updates, as we get them, obviously on a 3 times a week, then when I have my regular meetings with faculty, senate, executive council, staff council, I'll be able to give updates along that way. So that's our communication plan as we move forward within our assessment measures.
And Dr. Marrero, last thing I would just add on top of what Ron shared is that CARES process on the contact notification side is strongly integrated with the Department of Public Health. They are communicating on a daily basis with the Department of Public Health to help expedite the higher level contact tracing component that is done through the Department of Public Health. So those are daily touch points. And in addition to that, I have frequent communication with the Department of Public Health on both of our districts on an ongoing basis throughout each week.
Thank you, Dr. DeLoach. Trish.
Nancy McCarley in psychology asked you to please share the details of the university training your cabinet is going through and what organization is providing this training.
Fantastic. Dr. Twan Wilson was the one that introduced it to us, challenged us, and I said, absolutely, let's do it. We need it. So I'm going to have Dr. Wilson tell you all about the CDE program.
Good morning. So it's the Certified Diversity Executive Program. It's through the Institute for Diversity Certification. So it's a national program that's been around for about 15 years or so. Specifically, there are 16 competencies associated with being a certified diversity executive. And I won't go through all of those, but we're really taking a hard look at blind spots in personal awareness, unconscious bias. There's a session on race, power, and privilege, boardroom diversity, strategic purpose and partnerships, integrating cultures amidst mergers and acquisitions. So that's helping us as well. And so it's quite comprehensive. It's typically broken up over 8-week sessions. In our case, we're doing 3 full days in a virtual environment, and then we will complete an examination, and we'll also work on a group project together as well and get that submitted.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Trina?
Hello again. This question comes from Olivia Purdue in financial accounting. Now that we've proven to be efficient at teleworking, even after the pandemic, is there a future where we will have more teleworking options? For example, possibly making holiday weeks like Thanksgiving a teleworking week?
You know, it's a great question because I think we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot of the way in which we are able to do business effectively. I can tell you personally, and my life, you know, I enjoy face-to-face, and this time has certainly challenged that. Before we went to fully online back in March, I was averaging about 3,200 miles a month, getting to our 3 campuses with face-to-face meetings and working through that. And what this has shown us in a virtual environment is we can stay, yes, look, and let me say this for sure, that look, being present is critically important for me, and I'm going to continue that as much as I possibly can. But it really shows us ways in which we can be efficient within our meeting schedules, the way in which we communicate, particularly in the complexity of a 3-campus university. And so as we look to that, and the opportunity that this has showed us how virtual meetings can happen within Zoom or whatever your platform happens to be, we can create efficiencies there that not everyone has to jump in their car and drive, you know, back and forth on I-16. So we can have those meetings, but it also has shown us, as has been suggested in this question, maybe we can get the work we need to get done through teleworking and flex schedules and still be able to accommodate, live through. Again, we always look at our mission, our vision, our values, what we're trying to accomplish. There's some jobs that just cannot be done unless you are present to do them. But certainly within the scope of all we're doing throughout the entirety of the institution, I think it gives us an opportunity to assess that. Now, we're in the process here, and I can hear Vicki Shaw or Rebecca's voice in my head from an HR perspective of any telework or flex arrangement has to go through an HR approval process to document it. So you do have to negotiate that, work it through each of your divisional levels, through each of the structure of supervision. In fact, I don't know, Vicki, I think Rebecca's not with us today, but Vicki is. If you want to talk a little bit about that process for telework and flex work approval.
Yes, sir. So the telework and flex time policy that was recently shared with campus, it's out there for the duration of our work at Georgia Southern. So it doesn't apply just to the pandemic. So that process is just simply that an employee places a request through the HR ticketing system, and then we will walk the employee and the supervisor through the remainder of that process. The employee and the supervisor should definitely be having conversations about whether that employee's essential functions can be performed off campus, and whether that employee's performance supports them working off campus. And then from there, the employee will certify that their workplace is safe, and they will form an agreement that will then go up through to their vice president for final approval, and then that telework agreement can begin. It does have to be reviewed and renewed every 90 days.
Thank you, Vicki. Tricia, back to you.
Yes. Dr. Sargent would like to know, why are students being charged to receive a COVID test through campus health services? Will this create a financial barrier to testing and lead to lower testing rates?
Great question. And we're about to send out in communication the end of this week all the testing options for each of our students, the price point, what is covered by insurance, et cetera, and to go through that. And I think I could make a really good shot at it, but I'm going to have Dr. Brian DeLoach go through that for all the options, because there is a free option for our students, and we wanted to make sure of that on both of our campuses in partnership with Georgia Department of Public Health, and then how the process is for our other rapid testing capability. So Brian, if you could give them the whole overview of all the testing cornucopia that we have to make sure we can deliver testing for all of our students, even those that may not have health insurance or those that have inability to pay for the test.
Thanks, Dr. Marrero, and thanks for that question. So on both campuses, we will have a rapid in-house test option. The price for that test will be aligned across both campuses. We hope to have that confirmed by the end of the day today. And like Dr. Marrero said, that will be communicated out. Don't hold me to this, but we're thinking that cash price, self-pay, uninsured price for that test to a student would be $35, which is significantly cheaper than they would be able to get it anywhere else, for sure. In addition, on both campuses, we will have an option where we can collect a swab from the Department of Public Health, and we will transport that swab to the DPH health site in each of our, either in Statesboro or in Chatham County, or to the health department. That is a no-cost option, primarily for students who don't have the ability to leave campus. So understand, any student who wants to get tested can get tested in either Statesboro or Chatham County through the Department of Public Health test sites, and that is a no-cost option. We understand that for some of our students, though, they may not be able to leave campus, and so this provides that option in our health centers on both campuses, okay? So that's the no-cost option that Dr. Marrero was referring to. And then finally, there is also an option to collect a test swab and send it to a reference lab. So in the Statesboro campus, we use a reference lab off campus who does our other chemistry testing that we don't have the capability to do here. That same process is in place on the Armstrong campus. The cost for those tests, that's a high volume molecular test. That test cost is set by Medicare. The Medicare reimbursement rate for that type of test is $100, okay? And so for students who have insurance, we would file that to their insurance. The difference is on the Armstrong campus, because that clinic is run by Memorial, they don't file the insurance. So what they would do is give an insured student a walkout statement, and then the student could file it themselves. But for those students who aren't able to pay that $100 option, there will be the probably $35 option for the rapid in-house test. There'll be an option to get tested in either community at DPH at no cost to the student. And then for those students who can't leave campus, who don't have transportation off campus, there will be an option to have a test swab collected that will send to DPH. So it's a no-cost option that doesn't require them to leave campus. Important to understand that all of these options are entirely dependent on supply chain, which is out of our control. It's dependent on us being able to get the kits from DPH. It's dependent on us being able to get the kits from our vendors. So that is, we will be able to do that up to the capacity that we have available. Additionally, it's dependent on the capacity in each of the health centers to be able to collect the tests and run the tests. And, we have a set amount of staff in each health center. We're taking care of students with other problems throughout the day. So we'll be able to test students who present to our facilities with symptoms for evaluation that we've scheduled an appointment for. For those who want to get tested, who aren't able to be tested, if we're not able to get them on our schedule in a time that they feel is appropriate to them, they can be tested through the Department of Public Health in either community, either Statesboro or Savannah. And there's a test site, in Liberty County as well.
Thank you, Brian. And as you can see, this will be one of our why we're meeting 3 times a week. This is an assessment measure. This is how we're doing within each of this, everything from supply to availability to then how we're serving our students throughout the entirety of the fall.
And finally, I would just say, part of that is a constant assessment of the demand for testing, and then constantly evaluating, if there are gaps there, what other options do we need to consider to try to fill in those gaps?
Thank you, Brian. All right. Do we have time for one more?
Dr. Marrero, we are at 11:27. I'm not sure we could get to one, but I can give you one fast one if you have time.
All right, give it to me.
Okay, this is from Dr. Campbell. I feel like the university has really looked at the big picture on reopening. However, we are uncertain who needs to clean lab spaces. Are faculty responsible for this? If faculty are responsible, what agents are we to use?
Great. I'm going to have Rob help with that one. Carl, and you want to start Carl first?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to have Dr. Reiber start with that first, and then we'll have Rob finish up from the cleaning protocols that we're doing through custodial.
So we have lots of different types of labs on the campuses, biology labs, chemistry labs, computer labs, et cetera, and they all require slightly different processes. They will be cleaned as per normal, and Rob Whitaker can talk about that. But then each of those entities has requested through facilities various types of disinfectants that meet the demands of that particular lab. Clearly, you wouldn't want to use the same disinfectant on a computer keyboard that you would on a benchtop. And so they're tailored to the specific nature of the lab, et cetera. And facilities has done that, and we continue to upgrade and identify new sources. Again, we are worried about supply chain, and so Katie Twining has been working hard to make sure that if something comes available, we can purchase, that it won't damage any equipment or surfaces if used. And so we're working with the individual programs.
Rob, anything else to add to that?
The only thing I would add in there is that it will be a combined effort between facilities as well as the different departments. We'll be doing our normal trash, floor cleanup. Faculty and staff will be more taking care of their individual laptops, their tabletops. So it will be a combined effort. We will have the supply for the disinfectant and the cleaning for the different departments. So that's our plan right now.
Okay. Well, we have about 15 seconds left. I want to thank everybody for being with us today. I know in this virtual format, we miss the fellowship together as our people. Again, I say that it will be our mission, our vision, and our values that will lead us through this time. I want to thank you for being innovative, nimble, and willing to adapt, willing for us to move into a fall semester that will be clearly different than any of us have experienced. But I am confident that we are as ready as we can be, and together we will assess and navigate the entirety of the fall semester with the goal and outcome of our students being successful, of you and our public health guidelines with our people, for our faculty, staff, and students being as healthy as possible as we make it through this fall, and to ensure that this institution, our people, and the fiscal sustainability of the institution continues, and that we, as a whole institution at Georgia Southern University, can make it through this together. I know together we can solve so much. So thank you. Have a great fall semester. I'll be seeing you hopefully around with my mask. And so make sure and remind anybody, because there's lots of masks running around the institution that we have, like I said, in 16 different locations, over 50,000 to pass out. So thank you all and have a great day. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.